The darkness was absolute. A cold, silent expanse stretched endlessly in all directions. It was a canvas devoid of stars, a space where light dared not tread. Here, in this abyss of nothingness, a journey began. Or perhaps it was always ending.
There was a weight to the silence, a suffocating pressure that seemed to crush the very concept of hope. It was a place where time had no meaning, where past, present and future bled together into a single eternal now.
And within this void something stirred. A lone figure emerged from the darkness. Its form was indistinct, shrouded in the shadows that clung to it like a second skin. It moved with a slow, deliberate purpose across the barren landscape. Each step seemed to echo endlessly through the emptiness.
The ground beneath its feet was cracked and dry, a desolate wasteland devoid of life. There was no wind, no sound save for the rasp of the figure's breath and the crunch of its footsteps. It was a world stripped bare, reduced to its most primal elements, emptiness and existence.
Where was it going? What was it seeking in this desolate expanse? The void offered no answers, only the hollow echo of its own emptiness. The figure continued its journey, drawn ever onward by some unseen force. The landscape remained unchanged, a desolate, oppressive expanse of nothingness. Yet in the distance, a structure emerged from the haze.
It was a labyrinth, its towering walls crafted from some dark, unyielding material. Its passages twisted and turned, a complex maze of dead ends and false promises. The figure paused at its entrance, a sense of dread washing over it.
Was this the answer it sought? Was meaning to be found within this labyrinth of stone and shadow? The figure took a breath, steeling itself for the journey ahead. The labyrinth was a maze of twisting corridors and blind alleys, a place where every turn seemed to lead to nowhere. The walls were high and oppressive, casting long shadows that seemed to swallow the figure whole. The figure wandered its desolate paths, each turn leading only to further confusion and despair. It felt as though it was walking in circles, the same dark paths repeating endlessly, a cruel trick played by the labyrinth itself. The air hung heavy with the scent of dust and decay, a testament to the countless others who had walked these paths before. The walls were lined with the remnants of those who had been lost, their stories etched into the very fabric of the labyrinth.
And then it saw them, mirrors. They appeared suddenly as if conjured by the labyrinth itself, a cruel reminder of the figure's own plight. They hung on the walls, their surfaces cracked and fragmented, reflecting distorted images of the figure's own form. Each mirror seemed to tell a different story, a different version of the figure's identity, all of them broken and incomplete. It saw itself as a shattered being, its identity fractured and scattered across the shards of glass. The reflections were a cruel mockery, each one highlighting a different flaw, a different piece of the figure's broken self.
Each reflection seemed to mock its plight, reminding it of its own brokenness. The figure felt a deep sense of despair, as if the mirrors were showing it a truth it had long tried to avoid. Was this the true nature of its being? A collection of shattered fragments, lost and alone in a labyrinth of its own making? The figure wondered if it would ever find a way out, or if it was doomed to wander the labyrinth forever, a prisoner of its own broken reflections.
The figure stood there, contemplating its fractured self, caught in the endless reflections of its own despair. It felt a glimmer of hope, a small spark of determination. Perhaps it thought the mirrors were not just a reflection of its brokenness, but also a path to understanding and healing. With this thought, the figure took a deep breath and prepared to face the labyrinth once more.
The figure stumbled onward, its mind reeling from the unsettling reflections.
The labyrinth seemed to press in on all sides, its silence broken only by the sound of its own ragged breaths.
And then it heard them whispers.
They slithered through the darkness, faint and indistinct, like voices carried on the wind.
They spoke of emptiness, of futility, of the utter pointlessness of existence.
The figure tried to ignore them, to block out their insidious whispers, but they seemed to seep into its very being.
Doubt gnawed at the edges of its resolve.
Were these whispers the truth? Was existence nothing more than a cruel joke, a meaningless journey into oblivion? The labyrinth opened up into a vast, desolate forest, a place where the echoes of the past seemed to linger in the air. The trees were twisted and gnarled, their branches reaching towards the sky like skeletal fingers, as if trying to grasp something long lost. Their leaves, once vibrant and full of life, were now withered and brown, clinging to the branches like ghostly memories of a time when the forest thrived. The air hung heavy with the stench of decay, a suffocating reminder of the impermanence of all things, making it hard to breathe, as if the forest itself was mourning its own demise.
The figure stumbled through the undergrowth, its footsteps muffled by the thick carpet of dead leaves, each step echoing the silence that enveloped the forest. The forest was a graveyard of hopes and dreams, a testament to the relentless march of time, where every fallen leaf told a story of lost potential and forgotten aspirations. It was a place where life had come to die, where even the faintest glimmer of hope was extinguished beneath the weight of despair, a haunting reminder that nothing lasts forever and all things must eventually fade away.
At the heart of the decaying forest lay a clearing, shrouded in an eerie silence that seemed to swallow all sound, and in the center of that clearing, pulsating faintly, lay a heart. It was not just any heart, but a colossal one, its size dwarfing everything around it. It was massive, easily twice the size of the figure itself, and its surface was covered in deep, jagged scars. These scars told stories of battles fought and lost, of pain endured over countless ages. With each labored beat, the heart emitted a low, mournful groan that echoed through the silent forest. The sound was haunting, a symphony of sorrow that resonated with the very soul of the forest. The figure approached cautiously, drawn to it by a strange mixture of horror and fascination. Each step was hesitant, as if the ground itself might give way beneath the weight of the moment. As it drew closer, it realized that the heart was dying. The once powerful beats were now weak and irregular, a shadow of their former strength.
Each beat was weaker than the last, each groan a testament to its fading strength. The heart's struggle was palpable, a desperate fight against the inevitable. It was a painful, agonizing death, a slow descent into stillness. The heart's final beats were a tragic symphony, a mournful farewell to the life it once held. And as the figure watched, it felt a profound sense of emptiness welling up within it. The death of the heart was not just the end of a life, but the end of an era, a poignant reminder of the fragility of existence.
The figure collapsed to its knees before the dying heart, its journey through the labyrinth, through the desolate landscape and the decaying forest, culminating in this moment of stark realization. The whispers of the void, once so faint, now roared in its ears, echoing the truth it had been running from.
There was no meaning, no purpose. Existence was a fleeting spark in the vast emptiness, a brief flicker of light that would soon be swallowed by the darkness.
And in that moment the figure surrendered. It embraced the abyss, welcoming the oblivion that awaited it. The darkness that had always surrounded it now flowed into it, filling the emptiness within. The figure was gone, subsumed by the darkness. The dying heart beat its last, its mournful groan swallowed by the silence. The labyrinth stood empty, its twisting corridors and broken mirrors reflecting nothing but the void. The barren landscape remained unchanged and unchanging, a testament to the indifference of the universe. The journey was over, But the question lingered, echoing through the emptiness. Was this the end, or merely another beginning?
The void offered no answers, only the hollow silence of its own being.